And let me just add that everyone was invited to participate in this tour. The Rules Committee was, the entire Rules Committee, not just the Republican members, were invited to participate, and any other legislators that wished to participate. So this was not intended to be partisan kind of effort. Anyone would be more than welcome to be there. We encourage that.
And I was really pleased, the tour that I went on, which was Osage and Cedar Falls, it was bipartisan representation, bipartisan representation, so the legislators in both did show up.
And that was true
Yeah.
where I was too, in Ames and in Newton. We had both Democratic and Republican legislators were there, and there were a lot of citizens there with specific concerns that they had about a regulatory impact that had hurt. And this is everything from small communities like Alexander, Iowa, to small businesses. There was a car wash from Emmitsburg, to farmers that are growing vegetables that were at the Newton meeting. So you had a pretty wide variety of people that have various concerns about the impact of regulations. And our whole goal here is to make sure that we avoid these unintended consequences and that we require agencies, when they come up with a proposed rule, to have a jobs impact statement. Now, hopefully these can be positive things that will help create jobs, as well as things that might negatively impact jobs, and we want to have a cost-benefit analysis as part of that as well.
What's the methodology for how they're going to come up with the job impact analysis? Because that's a rather inexact science.
Right. Well, what we're asking them to do is to do a kind of a cost-benefit analysis. So, for instance, I can think one of the testimony was Alexander, Iowa. Okay, here's a small town, 61 homes, 11 of them are vacant. Marilyn, you correct me if my recollection is wrong. And they're being required to put in a central sewer system for the community. Well, the cost is going to be so great, there probably won't be anybody left that can afford to live in Alexander, Iowa. In another community I was at was Ottumwa. The mayor and the city manager were there to express the concern. They have already been required to increase their annual sewer rates to $50 per household. And there's additional requirements being mandated on them by the DNR. This is really not affordable for that community. And so these are the kind of impacts. They need to be given some time and an opportunity to work out a system that just makes some common sense and that's affordable for the communities and for the businesses affected.
Governor, on the cell phone tax, there's a proposal for a wireless surcharge being increased to pay for some upgrades to the 911 system as required by federal law. Are you on board with that detailed like on the tax?
I haven't had a chance to review that. I guess I want to look at that very carefully. My goal is to reduce the tax burden, make Iowa more competitive. I'm particularly interested in those things that impact business decision makers. Illinois is raising taxes. I've sent similar letters to Illinois companies saying we're going to reduce the corporate tax, the commercial property tax, and also streamlining our whole economic development efforts and reducing the regulatory burden. So we think Iowa is an attractive place to locate. So I think we want to look at and review each of these as to the impact they're going to have in terms of jobs. And I guess I'd be interested, that's a piece of legislation I've not had a chance to review, but I will review it and all others. The problem is we try to focus on the things that we think are most likely to pass. It's not possible for us to review every single bill that's introduced.
Have you looked at the internet ban?
No, I haven't yet. I've heard about it, and I understand that there is a bill that's been proposed, and I want to find out more about that. I understand there is a problem with offshore gambling that's taking place, and what is the appropriate way to respond to that?
Senator Yoakum sent out a statement today that she'd like you to request a $14.5 million extension in federal unemployment insurance benefits. March 10th, she says, is the deadline. Will you be doing that?
Again, I haven't had a chance to review that. I haven't received that information, so we want to take a look at that and see the impact it would have. I've also heard concerns about the impact of the unemployment tax on Iowa businesses. One company, Featherlight, that I used to serve on the board of, is one that I know has concerns about the impact that's had. I also know of a company, Tom Cardella's company, that was looking at Cedar Rapids, and chose because their unemployment tax went up so much, they chose to put that operation in Texas. We're hopeful that, and in fact, I think they have worked something out with Mr. Cardella's company to try to reduce the impact of that. But one of the problems we've had with this high unemployment, it's essentially brought the unemployment trust fund down, and employers have to replenish that with dramatically higher taxes. Now, the problem with that is, every time you hire somebody, you gotta pay more taxes, and that's a real, so that's a negative impact. We recognize the unemployment trust fund is paid for strictly by employers, and it provides unemployment benefits when people are laid off. And when you go through good times, those tax rates went down to a pretty decent low level. Now we've gone through this extended period of high unemployment, and now we're at a very high level. Now, some states are even worse. Some states, their fund's gone broke, and they're borrowing money from the federal government. We're not, as far as I know, we're not in that bad a shape, but because the tax tables automatically go up as the unemployment trust fund goes down, we have seen dramatic increases, and that's one of the negatives that we've had to overcome as we're trying to reduce other taxes to make Iowa more competitive for jobs.
Representative Meyer, would you have any message to the people coming to the House tonight, especially the vast majority of them speaking against the...
We'll be there to listen.
Okay, thank you very much.